Hey, I'm Ashley. Welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time tuning in, thank you for tuning in. And if you're returning, always thank you guys for returning. Um, it's always exciting every time I post and I see more people follow and different people comment and engage because I've been saying since I started this channel, we're going to build us a community, a safe space for us to talk and be vulnerable. Excuse me, I'm adjusting my brown women problems, right? But we're real here. And like I always said, I would be transparent. I try my best to be transparent and show up as my authentic self. And before I was making this video, I'm like, what is this week's video going to be about? But I really think God wants me to talk about us, just everything that we're doing and what we've been doing up until this point. You know, I think a lot of us can look around and see that we're not satisfied where we are. Like, we may have different goals that we said we were working towards, but we're not really doing anything to get there. And I won't say not anything, like we're not doing nothing, right? But the some things we're doing aren't making big enough strides towards the goals that we've set. And I'm not just talking about like monetary goals or tangible goals. I'm talking about like mental peace, mental clarity, the things that money cannot buy. And a lot of times I see that we invest our times in situations and people that do not contribute to where we're trying to go. It's a lot of things that we're used to doing and we commit to doing by habit. Our experiences taught us this is the way that things go and we're so used to it happening that way, we don't object. We don't make significant changes to move that around. And it's nature and nurture. Sometimes things are natural to us, but there's a lot of things that we've witnessed growing up that we've subjected ourselves to voluntarily and in like relationships that we develop as we get older. And I really just want to talk to everyone about cutting everything out. Like, we really got to cut this shit. We have to be honest with ourselves, like everything. And I feel like I'm on repeat because I know a lot of things that I talk about, I dig deeper into here and there, or I may break down or I revisit topics, but it's always relevant. And like, I just feel like we have to get down to the nitty gritty of why we're not getting where we want to go. Sometimes we just give up on our goals. I was thinking to myself, like, am I really in limbo right now? I know I'm doing different things. I know I'm making changes. I'm committing to one thing, leaving one thing, saying no to another thing, saying yes to another thing. But a lot of times I'm just like, I feel all over the place. And I think it's important that we feel grounded, but I also think it's very important that we start holding ourselves accountable for what we're doing to get here. There's the people that you're always spending time with, right? That ain't talking about the things that you need to be talking about. We really got to hold ourselves accountable to being around people that are doing the things that we want to happen in our lives. And it's not in a sense of utility. It's more in a sense of, like I said last week's video, reciprocity. Sometimes we don't realize we're spending too much time in environments that aren't conducive to where we're trying to go. It can be fun to go out, and I be having to tell myself that because I like to go out. I like to have a little drink here and there. Especially if I had a long week, I be feeling like I owe myself this weekend. But I'm also telling myself that I have to rewrite, rephrase, give myself a whole new perspective on what it means to cut loose and relax. Cutting loose and relaxing doesn't always have to mean having a drink. It doesn't always have to mean going to a bar, going out, And I feel like sometimes, a lot of times when we go out consistently, it's a form of escapism. Some people really just enjoy going out, but I think if I have to be honest with myself, it's a form of escapism. It's a form of creating a space where pleasure will be at an all-time high. Maybe I'm looking for that dopamine hit. And this is me divulging this right now in real time and kind of breaking down why I'm doing certain things that I probably need to cut back on. And, I told myself I have to be accountable. Like, I have to be accountable for everything I want. Earlier this year, I said that I was going to be working on my fitness journey, and I feel like I've been off and on. I work out consistently, then I stop. And it's not even on purpose. Like, life gets in the way, my schedule get in the way, my knee was bothering me for weeks. And I'm here to tell everybody, life does happen. Life does happen. Life does get in the way. And if you allow it to get in the way, it'll stay in the way. So here's the time where we stop making excuses and we make more space for the things that contribute to the life that we want. I feel like getting back into working out would be easier if I was more consistent and just dedicated, because I carve time out for things that probably aren't conducive to what I really need. You know, when you make time to go to the bar, you just made time to go to the bar. You know, when you could have made time to go to the gym or at least take a walk or at least do some stretches. And that's another thing. We have to get into stretching every day, guys. Like, if you don't use it, you lose it. I know that as a nurse, I see it all the time. We have to love on this vessel that God has given us. Every day that you wake up and you're in your right mind, that is a blessing. Every day you wake up and you go do this, you can stand up, do a jumping jack, you can do a squat. That is a blessing. And to hold on to that ability, you have to work with these muscles. Again, if you don't use it, you lose it. So it doesn't mean that you have to be going hard in the gym, hardcore weightlifting, doing CrossFit or anything. I used to love CrossFit, so that's why that popped in my head. But it just means that you have to do something. We have to do a little of something every day to get closer to the goals that we actually want and stop being in limbo and wondering why we're in the same place that we were in last year or the same place we were in last month or why we haven't made financial goals, because you're not saving money. Are you saving money or are you finding every opportunity to spend your money? And I say that as a person who likes to find opportunities to spend money. Like, I don't know. I get so much joy, again, the dopamine hit when I spend money. So this is the pot calling the kettle calling the pot, I just want us to really hone in on what we're doing that is not working right now. I want us to really get some courage and confidence to take this walk by ourselves. And what I mean by that is, it gets really lonely when you get stricter with yourself. Stricter, I sound crazy. When you get more strict with yourself, it gets lonely. You feel sad. You feel like people don't get it. You'll be pulled in different directions to do things that aren't quite what we're on the agenda to do. But the truth is, if you stay consistent on the things that God laid on your heart to do, the reward will be so much bigger than that fleeting dopamine hit that you would get from doing the thing that you weren't supposed to do. Now, if you need to really sit with that, rewind that part, because God just used me for that. That fleeting dopamine hit that you are searching for will have no comparison to the joy, the peace, the happiness, the comfort, the contentment that God will give you when you actually are obedient to his plan. And see, I think that's why a lot of times we practice escapism, because we never feel that real peace. Because there's something in us that understands that there's something deeper that needs to be going on. The activities that we're engaging in aren't really that fulfilling. They fulfill us in a superficial way. It doesn't go past the surface. And we need more than that. We're real people and depth people. And as I always say, we're people in the world, but we're not people of the world. And if we really understand that, then we have to understand the role that we play in being obedient to God in our relationship with him. Okay? I know I always say this, that I'm all over the place, but I think it's going to make sense. And I was just having those thoughts to myself like, dang, I got to get it together. It's not like I'm just doing terrible in life. It's not that. But there's so many things that I could really be more disciplined about. My yes meaning yes and my no meaning no. Like, I have to really get into that. And I got to stop compromising on things that don't need to be compromised on. Like, everything that happens in our life, for the most part, we can't control other people's actions, but we can control the access that we give other people to us. We also can control how much we engage with other people. We also can control how much, space we give people in our heads. When you're thinking about people all the time, or you're worrying about what people think, or extending too much grace to people. I'm big on extending grace, but there is levels, So just always remember that things need to make sense and everything has to be in balance. And if God lays something on your heart or you feel something in your gut that tells you to walk away from something, stop doing something, or to actually read this book or go to this place or say this prayer or meditate at this time, listen. The small, still voice is usually God trying to talk to us. And we're always so busy being distracted by this world that we miss the things that he's trying to say to us. So I think God wanted me to tell everyone, including myself, to forget about everything that you've been doing up until this point that doesn't make sense. Forget about everything you've been doing up until this point that hasn't led you closer to where you need to be, that hasn't led you closer to God, that hasn't led you closer to the financial goal, that hasn't led you closer to financial freedom, independence, the life you want, liberty, that real freedom you're seeking. Forget those things. And it doesn't even matter if you feel like you invested time and stuff and it wasn't working. Because sometimes we see stuff not working. And because we invested so much time, we're beating a dead horse because we're hoping we can revive it. Don't let that go over your head. Stop beating a dead horse. Walk away. Know when to quit. Know when to accept defeat. And know that you're never really defeated. That's your feelings. Your feelings will articulate one thing to you, but it's not really the truth because you're never defeated. There's always just a different route. There's always just a different play. And our emotions just communicate things to us for us to better understand what we like and dislike, you know? So just know that even if you feel defeated, you aren't defeated, because with God, you always have the victory. And when you choose what God has for your life, you'll always have the victory. Okay? So let's stop doing the things that don't make sense anymore. Let's leave the people behind. Let's cut ties. Let's really spend some time with ourselves. It's okay if you're alone for a minute. I know we don't like to be alone all the time. I know we always want company. We need the support. But understand that God is calling you to something bigger in this season. And the thing that you're about to sacrifice right now, He's going to give you something so much bigger. The magnitude of the blessing that He wants to bring into your life right now is so much bigger than what you're about to sacrifice. Okay? Trust Him. Trust that God brought you to this video for a reason, to tell you everything is happening for your greater good. And if you take the time at this moment to decide, you know what, I messed up, I kept messing up, but I'm not going to mess up again going from here. It doesn't mean that you won't make mistakes. It doesn't mean that you won't struggle, in your thinking and your habits, but it does mean that you're going to use your willpower, your free will, to make the decision to take the higher road and make the more difficult decisions that God is asking you to do, okay? And again, the blessing will be so much bigger than this fleeting dopamine hits that we're seeking when we're practicing escapism and just doing things that don't matter anymore, engaging with people that don't care about us, people that have already showed us that we don't matter to them, right? So if you made it this far into the video, thank you guys for watching. I hope somebody got something out of this. Like, comment, and subscribe. Tell me if you liked the video. Tell me if it resonated with you. Tell me if there's something that God has put on your heart. Tell me what you want me to talk about. Again, we're building a community and it's always going to be a safe space. So thank you guys for checking in, and I'll see y'all in the next video.